Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back.
I'm everyone.
Yes, you would be everyone, and
Yes.
then anyone else who's listening.
Uh-huh.
By the way, our 4 Star Wars episodes are in our top 4 or top 5 most listened to videos.
Interesting.
Not videos.
What one
Podcasts.
other video is up there with those
I
episodes?
don't remember. Good question. Let me
Cool.
pull that up. Yeah, no, I think, believe it or not, I think the 6th one is the most popular. So the first Star Wars one. No, not monetize.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe later. It's
Maybe.
no, not the last one. Though the last one did get 10 listens, even though I did not advertise it once, as you may have noticed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's the first episode,
Nice.
the Marvel Talk episode. Which,
Nice.
if you guys are
Marvel
still
Talk.
listening to that, way out of date. So I bought the new Star Wars book today, and it came with this little poster.
Hey, cool.
Pretty cool.
For
It's
the
got
listeners here, the
Oh yeah,
non-video
it's
people,
just
he
I'm
is
showing the
showing
poster.
a poster. Yeah.
You should go to the video and watch that specifically so you can see the poster. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm about 50 pages into it already. So
10 pages into the poster. Wow.
yeah, into the poster. Yep, 50 pages in the poster. That thing I showed you, flipping back and forth. 50 pages of those. So.
Oh, speaking of the viewers of this, people who can see it,
Yeah.
kind of there's this blank wall behind me. I actually hung a painting up there to be some more visual background stuff. But
for those of you listening, there's no painting.
Yeah. I used command hooks that I purchased, or like no, not command hook, like command strips from like 2015. Apparently, they have a shelf life. Because the painting like fell down.
The irony.
As I was like lying in my bed, which is like right underneath that wall. Almost hit me. Didn't hit me.
Well,
so I'm gonna have to invest in some more recent command strips. But then I'm gonna have some more visual stuff to reward our watchers here.
I mean, you can kind of see the 2 posters I have, the Canadian flag, which I'm not Canadian for anyone asking. I just have a Canadian flag. Someone gave it to me for free, so I kept it. There's another one. Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say there's another one over there, but it's actually out in the hallway in a laundry basket, where it should be. No, I love Canada. Canada's a cool place. What was I gonna say? Oh, did you tell the command strips to stay up there?
Yep.
Oh, I guess you're not very good at taking the commands then. They're defective, so I gotta just.
Yeah. I tried like commanding them, but oh well.
So not much news this episode. Really, the only piece, I mean, obviously there's speculation as there always is, but nothing I dove into this week. But yeah, you.
Yeah, me. Have made a huge mistake, it seems, because on an earlier episode of this podcast, maybe the last episode, maybe the episode before that, I mentioned the website, article, company place, we got this covered, which I cannot stand.
Sure.
But since you mentioning it on this podcast, and since that episode was uploaded, I've been getting like just recommended articles for there on. I'll scroll through Facebook and it's like every third thing is like, oh, we got this covered thing. I'm like, they know I exist now. They have found me and they're coming for me.
You shouldn't have said it out loud, especially not something that's being put on the internet. You know what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna get contacted and say, hey, where we got this covered. Please talk about us on your podcast, but we're going to sponsor you and give you money. And you're like, I don't want any of this. Please go away.
See, this is a whole trick. This is just, we actually are sponsored by them, and they're getting me to say their name over and over to get it in your head. But
as if it wasn't already a common phrase.
Yeah. We should reclaim we got this covered. We just say we got this covered when we talk about like anything now, and we get sued by them.
Speculate? You mean when we speculate? We'll say
yeah. But there were like 3 articles I saw that like all conflicted each other like in like a minute of scrolling. So
sure.
They're fantastic.
They don't have this covered.
Yeah, don't knock the hustle though. They are really trying. They are just dumping everything out of there that they can even think of.
Got to get them clicks.
Yep.
The only news that I can think of is yesterday, the nerd community, as we are a part of, got Thrawn trending yesterday. So if none of you've read the books or
Oh.
anything or seen Rebels, you know Thrawn, or at least a name from the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian season 2.
I know the name from there,
Yes,
and exclusively from
yes,
there, one might say.
yeah. One might say that.
Yep.
But so people, the Star Wars community got that trending the other day. Apparently, Ryan Johnson retweeted someone saying, "Hey, you gonna make a Thrawn trilogy? Haha, just kidding." And then he retweeted that, and so now people, as as per usually on this show, people started speculating that Ryan Johnson might be making the Thrawn trilogy as his trilogy in the Star Wars universe.
We have finished the Skywalker saga, and
Yes,
now on to the Thrawn saga.
Yeah, which
I guess
coincides with the Skywalker trilogy.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, not to spoil. Spoiler alert, I guess. If you plan on reading the Thrawn, what's it called? Ascendancy book, the first one, because the second one hasn't come out yet. So if you plan on reading that, I mean, cool. But I can't give you spoilers for a book that hasn't come out yet. If you plan on reading that, he does meet Anakin Skywalker. I don't know what happens because they cut it off and went to the next chapter after that. I guess it's explained in a different book. So
I can absolutely give you spoilers for the book that hasn't come out yet. The main character dies, and Mark Hamill is everybody else
in the book.
Yeah. Just in the book, it's canonically revealed
that
not Luke Skywalker, but just Mark Hamill. Yeah. So these are spoilers. Mark Hamill told me himself.
The world's catching on. I saw I sent you that video today. It was a video from TikTok saying how Mark Hamill is every emo boy's worst nightmare. Darth Vader, Batman, and I don't know the other person. I think it's from an anime. I don't watch anime, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the last name either. But I recognized Darth Vader and Batman.
Yep. So. Who famously, their bad guys are played by Mark Hamill in cartoons and or. Well, I guess Luke Skywalker's not Walker's bad guy, but if you're looking at Darth Vader, right?
Except he technically saved Darth Vader.
That's true. So later on, maybe not. But anyway, spoilers for Star Wars. So spoilers for the movie that came out in the 1980s.
Spoilers for Star Wars Episode 6.
And if you're listening to this, you probably are okay from that. Mm-hmm. You've probably seen it.
Maybe.
Unless you're here for the Marvel content, in which case you've been very disappointed the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's mostly been...
Well, you don't have to worry about that because we're going heavy into Marvel. Whoops, no, we're not. We're talking about DC today. The rival of Marvel, some may say.
If you listen to last week's podcast, like 10 of you have, we talked about...
We did mention this,
About I mentioned the Wonder Woman movie. And that Brennan hadn't seen it. And that he was going to purchase HBO Max so he could watch it.
If the FBI is watching or whatever, you don't see this. You do not see the air quotes around purchasing.
He bought. I mean, there's free trial that everyone gets and then deletes their account for. So you did purchase it.
Yep, sure.
Anyway,
definitely purchased it. Yeah. I watched Wonder Woman 84, which was a little confusing because I hadn't seen Wonder Woman's 2 through 83 yet, but I was able to pick up on.
I can understand how that would be confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, because even if you had seen it, I don't think it would have been. I still think it would have been pretty confusing. So let's just get this out of the way now. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
Major spoiler alert. I mean, the movie's been out for like 2 weeks now, or almost 2 weeks.
And it's on HBO Max, so if you get the free trial or whatever.
Or go to the movie theater if you're brave enough.
Like I did, yeah. Yep.
Otherwise, you get a free trial of HBO Max. Using our promo code. No, I'm kidding. I don't have a promo code. I wish I had a promo code. Can you imagine if we had a promo code from HBO Max 11 episodes in? Just our podcast blew up that much. Crazy. Anyway, so Brennan, what are your thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984?
What are my thoughts? What aren't my thoughts? Um, okay, one thing I will say right off the bat is the pacing to me was so strange.
It was weird.
It was so. It was a 2.5 hour long movie.
Way too long.
In my opinion, it did not need to be longer than like an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. But with the extra 45 minutes of time, it still felt so rushed.
Yes.
In like a lot of parts.
It was weird.
Like
the pacing was really strange.
Just diving right into this here. When Steve is his name. When Steve comes back.
Yeah.
And Diana meets Steve, sees Steve in someone else's body.
This is a weird part.
She literally, I thought I missed a scene. I was listening to at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, did I just blink, like pass out for like 5 minutes and like miss a scene? Because she's immediately okay with it.
Okay.
Can
I say something real quick about that? Do you remember her wishing for him to come back? Because I watched it like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I don't remember her wishing for him to come back.
So what happened is so there's the scene. Okay, one of my favorite scenes from the entire movie, just unironically, is when they have the wishing stone.
Yeah.
And they've just discovered it, and like Diana reads on the side of it, she's like, "Oh, it's one wish per person or whatever."
Yeah.
And then so clumsily, there's a dude who comes up and he grabs the rock. He's like, "Oh, I wish I had a coffee," and he puts it back down. And then someone walks in immediately and is like, "Oh, I have an extra coffee." And
I remember
the dude goes and grabs the coffee from this dude's hand, not even saying like, "Oh, I would love an extra coffee." He just grabs the coffee from the dude's hand. He's like, he said something else. He was like, "It's my lucky day" or something, I guess. And he was so clumsily scripted and so clumsily acted. And I loved it so much. I loved every single second of that one scene. But the reason I bring that up is because when he made the wish, that was like the first time a wish was made, and there was like this like wishing noise in like the background. Anyway, because then after that scene, like the girl who becomes Cheetah in a really contrived way, is like, "Oh, what would you wish for?" Talking to Diana. And Diana's like, "Oh, like I know what I would wish for." And she picks up the rock. She kind of looks at it. And then you hear like the wishing noise.
So she didn't say
she wished for it, in her head.
Gotcha.
Which I guess you don't have to say it out loud, that was like the only time a wish was made in someone's head and it worked.
Yeah.
And which is really funny because actually I'm realizing this now that towards the end of the movie, the dude was like insisting that people say their wish
out loud.
So that is kind of a funny thing, you know. That's not necessarily like a plot destroying factor or whatever, but it's
but you just like, wait a second, she wished for that? And then okay, I also didn't get this, like, this is a different person, but like you saw it through Diana's eyes where it's like it's the same person.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Like Quantum Leap. If you've ever seen Quantum Leap, it was just like Quantum Leap.
The best way I could describe. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like Quantum Leap, except for it just skips over like really quickly the fact that he's in someone else's body.
Yeah,
like it's acknowledged like so briefly, and all of a sudden everything's fine.
Yeah. The best way I can explain this movie, or the way this movie felt to me, was the Dora the Explorer movie that came out last year, and National Treasure meets a superhero movie.
Interesting.
It's just for some reason it felt like that. You remember National Treasure, right?
What?
With National Treasure with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Yes, yes, I do. A couple of good things I'll say about this movie before we get into like all the bad stuff, because there's
a lot of bad stuff.
I absolutely love Chris Pine, and like the first Wonder Woman movie and this Wonder Woman movie, he was fantastic.
Yeah,
his character being there was a little bit odd.
Yes,
but still, it was great seeing him in it. I absolutely love the actress who plays Wonder Woman and how she plays Wonder Woman. I feel like she did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, despite it being
she was really good despite everything else.
Yeah. I love the costume thing, like
mm-hmm.
the Wonder Woman costume. Because like it still is, it's like the classic comic book one or whatever, but it mm-hmm. like, you know, it's like armor,
Mm-hmm.
but like also she's like invincible. So it's just kind of cool, kind of neat. The whole lasso thing, I really like how the lasso is like animated and all that. I love the thing with the invisible jet, how like the visuals there were like when the invisible jet was like flying through the fireworks and the
Yeah, that
clouds and
was
everything.
cool.
That was super cool.
I like the
So that
scene
might
where
be
she
it.
learned to fly. That was an interesting scene.
Yes, that was.
I
I
enjoyed that. It was
have some issues with
no, yo, yeah, but
scene,
and
but it
then
was cool.
I think the intro scene was cool too. I think the intro scene set up to be a much better movie than it was.
Yeah, I like seeing why does his name always escape me? The actor who plays the Mandalorian.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Peter Pascal. I like seeing him. I always it's so funny. I cannot think of him as anyone else now except for
The Mandalorian.
the Community sperm guy.
We
Just
I forgot
unironically,
about that.
just literally, I was like seeing him in the Mandalorian. I always forget the Mandalorian is him.
Until he
And
takes his helmet off. Yeah.
taking off his helmet twice, and both times I've been like, "Oh, it's Community Sperm Guy," just unironically in my head. Yeah, it was 3 times. You're right. Just that always happens. That's what pings in my brain. It's like Community Sperm Guy, and it's so funny.
For any of you who haven't seen the reading of, I think they did like a reading over quarantine, the Community cast, instead of getting the original actor, the table read, instead of getting the original actor who did the Pierce Hawthorne's Will, they got Pedro Pascal because I guess he's good friends with the showrunner for Community or whatever his name is, Dan Harmon.
Yeah,
and so he did it, and that is like one of the funniest things because I don't think Pedro Pascal knew what to expect.
No, he may
So
have
he
skimmed
died
over the
laughing.
script at
Yeah.
best, but he definitely did not read it in depth. Because so there's essentially a scene where if you haven't watched the episode of Community, go watch the episode of Community. If you haven't seen the live table read, I would highly recommend the live table read.
Yeah.
But basically, so spoiler alert for Community, but Pierce Hawthorne dies.
So that would be Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a will that has to be read where he's like giving out things, and he gives sperm to every single other member of this study group.
And a vial of sperm.
Yes. Yeah, just like a canister, almost almost looks like one of those water bottle things where it's like, it's like insulated.
Yeah.
I don't remember. There's a specific word for it. A
thermos.
Almost looks like
obligatory thermos of sperm.
Anyway, so and like in the show, it gets funnier and funnier and funnier. Like there's other elements to make it whatever each time this happens. But yeah, he had no idea what was going on. So he starts reading these characters handing out sperm, and he starts cracking up. And I think at one point, like it's like the 4th or 5th instance in, he like can no longer read. He spends like a minute and a half minutes maybe just cracking up so much.
I think it was Jeff's
handing out.
thermos.
Yeah. It was I think it was one with like Jeff too.
He was like, here's your sperm,
so
and like a thing of whiskey, so you don't drink the sperm or whatever.
No. Like first it was like the whiskey, and it was like,
that's right.
Here's like a fine bottle of scotch, and he's like, so you'll be less tempted by this even finer canister of sperm.
That's right. I think that's where he lost it. Anyway,
so Pedro Pascal read this line, and he starts cracking up, and it was so funny just seeing him like reading the script and like laughing that hard. But like, that's kind of where I first got a lot of exposure to his face.
Yeah.
So now every time in the Mandalorian where he takes off his mask, I'm like, because I always just forget. I'm like, oh, Community Sperm Guy. So
throughout this entire movie, you're just like Community Sperm Guy.
Yep.
I did not.
It was weird
care.
seeing him
without.
Like
just a mustache or cheesy.
Without, no, he didn't.
Oh no, that's right.
Yeah. I was kind of used to seeing him in Community Sperm Guy role with like a mustache, but
did not care for his character at all. I don't think he did great. Or maybe it's just the way the character was written.
He had a weird character. It's like it's like I liked him doing the character, but the character himself, I wasn't
Maybe that's
really
what
all
it
that
was.
fond
Hmm.
of like his character. I do like because he was like so like into that character and how he was doing
Yeah.
things and like getting people to make wishes and everything. But it was a really weird dude. I absolutely love the part where he gets the wishing stone or
Yeah.
whatever it was called.
Who cares?
And he's the whole thing with oil. So it's like, oh, he's going to make a wish for oil. That's what makes sense. That's what he's going to do. He's going to get like rich and powerful,
Hmm.
like maybe have other magic items or whatever. But no, he wishes to become the stone. He wishes to be the rock.
And then he like wished, and then he continued like wishing his whatever.
Yeah, but it was it
It was
was it was
weird.
it was such a funny scene where I was just like, oh, he's gonna wish to have oil, obviously, and he's like, no, I am the stone now, and that like it
Mhm.
was it was just so strange.
This movie was so
Um,
poorly written. Like I
like
think the actors did all the
oh
actors,
yeah,
even Kristen Wiig, I think did a pretty good job.
yeah. It was like
It's just a
all of them
weird
like thinking
movie.
back, they all did a great job. It's just like the script was
So
so
bad.
like it's like and also my biggest complaint is how do you have something this major like this literally went across the entire world,
Hmm.
everybody saw this happen, this affected everybody. How do you have something this big and then not have it addressed in like subsequent movies? It's like it's like
DCEU is a mess.
but it's like what if like Captain Marvel or whatever, or like not Captain Marvel because it's already, what about Black Widow? That takes place prior to movies that we've already seen. What
Yeah.
if we find out in like Black Widow that like halfway through the movie the entire Earth gets like split in half and then like healed back together and everyone just remembers it, and it's like why would that not be addressed in like any
Right.
movie taking place afterwards? It's like this is super huge and there's no mention of it or reference to it at all in the movies that are supposed to come after.
The,
So
the only thing I can say is the DCEU is a mess. Like
yeah.
it's a
And
complete mess.
the thing is, this did not help matters at all.
No.
It's so funny because the only piece of information you need from this movie to like connect Wonder Woman to Justice League and stuff is the fact that Wonder Woman can fly now. That's it. It was a 2.5 hour long movie to show us that Wonder Woman can fly. It's really
I,
all it was.
I haven't seen Justice League yet. That's on my to watch list on HBO Max.
I
But I kind of want to wait for the Schneider cut, which is supposed to come sometime this year.
Yeah, I watched it like before it came out actually because at NC State they occasionally had advanced movie screenings
Mm,
and Justice League was one of them. And I waited in line for like 3 hours to make sure I could get in to see Justice League,
yeah,
and it didn't cost me anything. It was free,
that's good.
and honestly, that's
From what
the
I've
only
heard.
way to watch Justice League. Yeah, like I did not hate the movie. There were a lot of parts that I kind of enjoyed, but I would not have paid any money to see that movie
Mhm.
at all.
So
I don't think the Snyder cut will save it, but I'm excited to see it too because
yeah,
I don't remember what happened Justice League a whole lot. I just know it was super chaotic at a lot of points.
so apparently, some guy on YouTube was just like, "Hey, these movies are very similar." And that those two movies are Justice League and the first Avengers movie. And like he ran through and they're like almost scene for scene the same movie.
Yeah, the
It's
only
probably because
difference
Joss
is
Whedon is there. Yeah,
yeah,
he showed the big difference, like the scene where they like argue with each other. Um, in Avengers, is that they became together as like a group that like actually had chemistry, whereas in the Justice League movie, it was just like okay,
yep.
scene.
The only difference is that one movie was good and one was not good. See, the only problem with the Justice League is like they didn't establish all the characters before bringing them all together. They kind of
Right.
just
Here's
threw them
Cyborg and the
all
Flash.
like yeah, all together, and then
They briefly introduced them at the end of Batman versus Superman. But like
yeah,
they didn't give the Flash or Cyborg their own movie. They're just like,
no,
here's the Flash and Cyborg.
yeah,
Have
and
fun.
it's like yeah, you really can't do that with characters that major because it's everything felt way too kind of just like forced together and all that. The only way that works is if there's like chemistry or some explanation that's better. Like for the Batman finds the Flash thing, they tried so hard to do the thing that like that in Civil War Tony Stark did with Spider-Man, of like how he like went and found Spider-Man and kind of told him that he knew and here was how and all that stuff. But it just didn't feel the same.
They forced it again.
Yeah. It was a very strange movie, and like again, it wasn't necessarily bad. Like a lot of people just are like, oh, it's horrible, whatever. It's like it had some good parts. It wasn't really good. Like, you know, I would watch it, would not pay money to watch it, would not go out of my way to watch it. But if it's there, I don't have anything else to do. It's like, yeah, I'll sit down and see it.
Well, even Avengers, like, I guess if you hadn't watched Thor or Iron Man 2, you didn't know Black Widow and what's his name?
Hawkeye
were in it. Hawkeye were in those movies. But like they just kind of they and if you hadn't seen those, they kind of introduced them in Avengers.
Yeah.
But like they did it well. And they're not like huge major characters. They ended up being a lot bigger than they probably seemed at the time. But like with characters like the Flash and Cyborg, you can't just here you go. You can't.
Yeah, and it's like because you're not attached to them. It's like you never seen these these actors in these roles. You never seen like these characters on screen in this way before. And
it'd be the same thing if they just did that with them and then the Martian Manhunter, which I'm kind of glad they didn't include him, even though he's a pretty big part of the Justice League. I mean, you can't just shove 3 of those characters like of those of that ilk in there. But whatever. And then the DCEU is just a mess because then you have. Not only do you have the movies, you have the TV shows that aren't connected at all to this.
Yeah,
there's
which
like
I mean,
a couple of those. There's the Flash, Green Lantern. There's
Green
Arrow.
Lantern. Yeah. Arrow's over, but I think they actually are doing a Green Lantern series now in that same universe. Honestly,
yeah, and then there's Supergirl and stuff like that.
Yeah, honestly, even though the TV shows are kind of just as equally chaotic and stuff now, the TV series for the longest time did like a DC extended universe so much better than the movies did.
That's what I've heard.
Than the movies did. Yeah, like I really enjoyed it up to a point, up to like where they started doing like they did one crossover that involved like aliens or something maybe, and after that point it was just like, okay, the internal logic of every show is like completely broken now. There's no going back. But before that point, they did it so well.
And then I think there's a couple on HBO too that like are part of like they're just kind of like their own thing. And now they're bringing in a different Batman into the DCEU, and now there might be like this whole multiverse thing with Batman and.
Which again,
who knows? It's too early for that. Like it's too early for Marvel to be doing the Spider-Verse.
It's like what I liked about how Marvel started things off. I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it here, but I liked how Marvel, like they had kind of this plan. What they did is they had one superhero movie at a time, and then like when they had Hulk, they planned to tie it in, which is why like the cameo of like Tony Stark was in there, but everything was still individual. There was no real overall connecting thing until the Avengers movie, where all the characters were kind of brought together for the first time.
Right.
But DC hasn't tried that once. They had like they had Man of Steel, and the very next movie was like Batman versus Superman, where they started introducing all these characters, and they had like Justice League, and it's like
they threw Wonder Woman in there. I don't really think she needed to even be in there.
No, it didn't make sense,
No.
Especially now. If you if you watch, I'm so certain if you watch all the Wonder Woman appearances in like timeline order, it will be completely out the window, like nonsensical. I can't say that for sure because I haven't watched Batman v Superman more than once, and I don't remember like Justice. It feels so out of place. It feels like it only makes sense if you can't remember the other movies.
Well, and then, like I said, they're bringing in Robert Pattinson's Batman, which that movie looks good.
Yeah,
I don't want to get my hopes
about
up.
The Riddler. I'm so excited about the Riddler. He's my favorite Batman villain, and he's like never on screen.
Yeah, So
So I'm very excited about
hopefully
that.
do something well with that. And then you have James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy. He's got the sequel to Suicide Squad, which they're just calling the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's not actually a sequel. It's kind of a
Do over.
yeah. Yeah, it's like a remake of Suicide Squad, like
Yeah,
only a couple of years after the original Suicide Squad
which I feel
came
like,
out.
which is how I
But
feel like they're gonna do with Batman.
yeah,
Because like they have
it's
a Batman, but now here's another Batman.
yeah, they're trying so hard to make the DCEU work, and they really just need to kind of stop and start over completely.
I think they need to like take like maybe like a 5-year break, and then go.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
maybe this. Well, I guess obviously not. Coronavirus isn't gonna stop anything, but not the. I mean the hamdemic. Damn, I'll have to bleep that out.
But
But yeah,
anyway,
back to
well,
Wonder Woman,
lots of stuff in DC. Back to Wonder Woman specifically.
1984.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
because
Wonder Woman,
the first one,
1984.
the first one just
movie.
such high standards, you know,
Yes.
and it just didn't even meet it in even the
Yeah.
slightest.
I like the first Wonder Woman movie a lot. It was good. I remember I've only seen it once, so I can't really say a whole
Yeah, me
lot.
too.
But it was like I felt really energized when
Mhm.
leaving that movie. This movie I kind of felt more confused.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of back to what I was saying before when so Diana made this wish on this wishing stone for Steve to come back. Steve comes back. He's in another dude's body. So like this dude walks up to Diana. She's like, "Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Stop bothering me." And then he basically recites his lines from the previous movie right before he died. And then she's like, "Oh, Steve." And then the other actor is replaced by Chris Pine. So we know it's like him. But he's in another dude's body. And like literally as soon as she realizes that it's Steve, she does not care.
Yeah.
And she doesn't care once. And it becomes established that this is like not like this body wasn't made for him. He's inhabiting somebody else who has a life. Like he has an apartment, he has like a job, he has like whatever. He has photos on his wall in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a soul that is like been like, extracted from its body and is like up in limbo somewhere. And Steve is like in this guy, and Diana is completely fine with it, not objecting to it at all.
So this random guy, his soul's taken way too early and put somewhere else. Sounds like another movie that just came out on the same exact day. Do you think that guy became a cat too?
Yes.
Anyway,
that explains Cheetah.
Oh my god.
Perfect. We've connected all of the dots.
The CGI for Cheetah, by the way, was awful.
It was, the CGI for Cheetah was like the CGI from the movie Cats, but like they gave her a wig.
Yes.
Too.
I think they definitely could have gone with a different design of Cheetah because she's got some pretty cool designs and none of them look like that.
Yeah, and also we'll like get to all of that.
We'll get there. Sorry.
A little later, but like it just that was it seems so contrived how they turned her into a cat. But I digress. It's like the next thing that really kind of that just bugged me just a little bit is when they're flying to Egypt.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah, like it was
in an old fighter jet.
Yeah, they're flying to Egypt in an old fighter jet. It's taking off, and then I really love the exchange of he was like, "Oh, I'll fly so they can't see us or whatever," and then Diana's like, "Uh-oh, you don't know about radar," and he's like, "What's radar?"
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. I really like that whole exchange. But then she's like, "Oh, I can make it invisible,"
which is power I don't think anyone knew she had until now.
Yeah,
unless you read the comics, maybe. But
yeah, no, there wasn't anything. I mean, there was something that new that was added. I don't know if she had that power in the comics or not specifically, but in the comics, she is known for having an invisible jet, like specifically called the Invisible Jet. It's like, okay, that's super cool. So she turned invisible. They took off. I love that visual scene. Looks so good. And what I absolutely loved is like, okay, they have introduced the Invisible Jet, but they didn't feel the need to like call it the Invisible Jet. They're just content here with it being a little like kind of like almost an Easter egg.
Mm-hmm.
And and just kind of letting audiences appreciate that. And it's not kind of like shoved down our throats, like, oh, we're giving you this. They don't have to call it you by name, is what I like. It's like they don't have to call it by name. Like, that's so cool. The very next line was Steve saying, "Cool, we're in an invisible jet," or something like that. And I was like, you ruined it. Why do you have to call it by name? Why? Why did the script writers think it was necessary for them to specifically say the phrase invisible jet? Did they think we wouldn't understand? Did you think we would just go over our heads unless a character specifically called it an invisible jet? It just bugged me so much that I was like, come on. But then it was that whole great visual scene where they're flying through the fireworks and the clouds, and it's invisible. I love that scene. And then the part where like Diana after that was like, oh, I've always kind of like admired your power of flight here. Like that's not a power that I have, but I love it. And he kind of gave this whole speech about how, oh, flying's easy. You just kind of get the wind and you like go through the clouds or whatever. And obviously, he's talking about flying a plane.
Yeah.
Obviously, he is talking about being in a plane and flying a plane, which is why I found it so funny that much later on in the movie, she's like using her her lasso to like, kind of like do the Spider-Man thing where he's kind of going around town doing her lasso things. She gets really high up in the sky after getting it to an airplane or whatever. And then she's like, kind of whatever. And then she like hears his words about how easy flying a plane is. And she gains the power of flight, or she like activates her power of flight.
Yeah,
and
she could do that in the comment. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's super cool. But like they had to have the way she unlocked that being remembering how easy Steve said flying a plane was. Like, he obviously was not talking like, oh, anyone can just fly if you catch the wind right. He was talking about a plane. Like, super cool. Like, I love the visuals of like her flying, but just the fact that monologue was like playing in the background while she was flying. It's like she's not talking about a person.
Oh, did you see that the music playing in the background in that scene is from a completely different movie?
No.
Yeah, it's from a completely different movie. I don't remember which movie it was from.
What movie? Okay, yeah.
It's like credited in the credits or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's from a completely different movie.
But yeah, it was super cool that she could fly. I love the fact that she gained the power of flight or whatever, that she in the comic book she obviously has that, whatever she getting here. I just think it's so funny how the monologue playing in the background was him talking about how it's easy just to fly a plane. But anyway, I also absolutely love the thing about, okay, so it's revealed that like the stone, when you wish for something, it takes something else away from you, kind of like comparable or whatever it deems comparable, which is why the dude wanted to become the stone, because now he gets to give things and he also gets to take something in return. But anyway, when they're breaking into his office, whatever, Diana goes to like break a lock and she can't break the lock, and she's like, that's weird, because I'm a goddess who is like super strength.
Yeah.
So anyway, you have Steve, it's like being like, oh, are you all right? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. But then like she's like in the battle in Egypt, and then she gets like shot in the shoulder and she's like, I'm bleeding, that doesn't happen.
Right. That happened a few times.
Yeah. I really thought that was like a neat thing. That was a cool thing that like they did. Like, I loved the visuals of all that. Like, this movie had great visuals, great actors. Story was so weird.
It sounds like a trilogy that people like to talk about. Can't put my finger on it. Anyway.
Yeah. So then they like fly back.
That was supposed to be for like character growth. I think like her not being invincible, but like didn't work really, because then she got the suit, she became invincible.
Well,
it was weird.
I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to be character growth, but like more of her realizing that like she can't save the day if she has Steve, because like it's then it's revealed that because like it's revealed that like she can just undo her wish. And then everything will go back to being normal. But it's like oh, if she keeps Steve around, she won't have her powers. But if she
I got you. I didn't get that.
Oh,
I was too focused
You
on how
didn't?
bad the
Okay.
movie was.
Yeah, that's fair.
Most of
Um.
the stuff you're saying I missed because I just
Oh
wasn't.
wow.
I was
Okay.
like watching it, but I was like, oh my god, why?
um.
Or
So
look it
yeah.
up, Stunks.
Yeah. So anyway, that's revealed. Um. So then, as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, she's going to have to give up Steve and then get her powers back, and she'll save the day. And they drew it out a really long time. Like that's
Mhm.
established, and there's like another hour to go before she finally gives up
Doesn't.
Steve.
Yeah.
Um, which like, and it's one of the things where it's like his character really did not need to be in that movie at all. It was great that
No.
the character of like Diana got some closure from him. It was great that that actor was in there because I absolutely loved him just acting in like the universe and everything.
Mhm.
You know, guy from like the 20s or whatever, being in the 80s.
It was the tens actually because the World War One, which is the first one that took
Okay,
place,
yeah.
14 to
Okay.
18. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it didn't end in 18.
And then
Yeah,
the plague
so.
started.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah, it did start. Wow.
Anyway.
Wow. Crazy. So, yeah,
Hamdemic number one, as most would call it.
the original pandemic. Hamdemic. Anyway, so guy from the 10s being alive in the 80s,
Yeah.
super cool getting to see him interact with like all the technology and all the clothing. And he was like, whoa, like I absolutely love that trope in movies or whatever. So that was super cool. But again, his character did not need to be in there, and it probably took away from any real story that they could tell, which is sad.
I kind of feel the same way about Kristen Wiig's character. Like, almost
Cheetah?
felt, Cheetah.
Yeah.
Almost felt unnecessary because she wasn't the main bad guy.
Yeah, it was like they had Chris Pine, the Rock dude, and Cheetah Girl, and they only needed one. They only needed one, and they tried to fit kind of all of them in there,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. It had the potential.
It was like
Um,
it was like Spider-Man 3. They tried to do too
yeah,
much.
yeah, and the pacing of the whole thing felt so off.
Yeah.
Like it just felt so weird. And like I can't put my finger on it exactly, but it seemed too short and too long at the same time. The only way I can think of how to describe that is just the pacing was
It
weird.
was like it's exactly how it felt. Also, let it be known, when they went to that one Mayan guy with the rock about the rock,
Yeah,
did not care for that stereotype there. Did not
it
care for
was.
that. I
Yeah, it was also weird because it's like,
as
why did
as
they?
someone who's Mayan, did not
It was
care
like,
for that.
it was like, why did they add his character if like he only had like one scene? It was like they
He had
went.
like a line.
Yeah, I was like they went to a lot of like effort here.
Mhm.
That's what it's like. The pacing felt so weird. Like that. That felt like that should have been a bigger character, a different character, whatever. They just devoted a lot of time to individual scenes that
Also,
didn't end up really going anywhere.
those kind of made him out to be like this weird druggy guy in the back alley, which I didn't care for.
Yeah,
Also, bad stereotyping on that guy. Real
very
bad.
bad stereotyping.
Come on, DC, do better. Just in general, but I guess it's Warner Brothers is to blame here, not as much DC. I'm sure they'd
Yeah,
go much. I'm sure if DC had their own free reign, they'd probably do better.
yeah, yeah. It
Disney,
was.
DC just needs to get out of Warner Brother. I think
He was.
that's a big issue. But
Yeah. See, the thing with him is it was a very bad way of stereotyping him. It was a
yes,
very bad way of stereotyping him. Then also, it's like he was passing out flyers about like teaching classes on like the specific stone.
yes.
And then there was no one else there when they went in, and he just had this like ancient book.
Which, by the way, they did not use books or paper. They used walls and tablets.
Yeah, it
But
was.
and did we
It's
did we ever find out in the first movie? Maybe we did. But like,
and
why can Wonder Woman just speak all languages now, including Ancient Mayan?
that's actually a good question. I actually never questioned that. I assumed it was something that was discussed in the first movie, but I mean, maybe not. Or it might just be that like she can learn knowledge fast, and she just like studied other languages when working at like the museum, but
Okay, I guess that's where
or
ancient Mayan can come in, but still.
yeah, or maybe it's just their culture can like speak any language or whatever.
Maybe.
I'm actually not sure because
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think she did speak German in the first one.
All right, okay, yeah.
But
It could
still,
just be
it was
that her
weird.
culture can speak any language because honestly, I don't understand why they just would be speaking English on like that island. So maybe it's just they have like a universal language thing. I'm not sure.
Including the ancient dead
I'm not
languages
sure.
and
But yeah, the book
hieroglyphs.
thing, like it was like a super old book. The book looked brand new. Like
I
the
know.
pages were like so crisp and white.
It is weird.
So like the prop department did a fantastic job on a lot of the other props, not on that book.
No.
um the other thing that kind of bugged me a whole lot was the cheetah girl, her character.
Yeah.
When we first introduced to her character, we immediately learn that she cannot walk in heels,
No.
which means she's clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
We learn that she has glasses and wears her hair up, so she is unattractive.
Yeah.
And
Apparently.
that is all they did to convince us of both of those things. They made her not be able to walk in heels, so we would know she was clumsy, and put glasses on her, put her hair up, so we would know she is unattractive.
This nerdy girl to attractive girl trope kind of needs to die in
Yeah.
Hollywood. Like
Literally,
it's so overused and overplayed.
as soon as I saw her in glasses, like there is going to be some kind of a line where she, like, when she gets attractive, when she takes off the glasses, she's like, like I'm pretty now. There's going to be that trope of I take off my glasses and I'm attractive now.
Does that work in real
And
life? Because that's all that it takes. I mean,
and it was so funny because like just like I called, there was a line, and like not just a scene, but like a line where like she is reading. Well, like she gets like let me back up. She makes her wish, and it's to be like it's to be like as pretty and like as powerful as Diana.
mm-hmm.
Her not knowing that like Diana is like a god, so it's like but anyway, so she starts to get pretty. You can tell because her hair is down and she can like walk now.
It's so messed
But
up.
she still has the glasses until like there's this one scene where she's reading a book and she's surrounded by all these dudes who like work with her and they're like, you're pretty now, so we're interested in you all of a sudden. And she's reading and then she's reading, and then she takes off her glasses, says, I guess I don't need these anymore, and she tosses them aside. And I was like, they did not just like it's like
This is a kids movie with the curse words.
And it's like I understand that part of the wish could be like you want to be like Diana. Diana can see great, so like you don't need glasses, whatever, you like Diana. But the way it came off and the way that like the trope always works is like just, oh, you're pretty now, so you don't need glasses.
Because pretty people just have perfect vision.
I was like, why did they do this? Why did they choose to like literally devote almost an entire scene? It's almost all the scene.
It went on for way too long.
Her just taking off the glasses, and guys are like, wow. And it's that trope specifically just needs to die. Like a lot of these tropes just need to like die and never come back.
That's one of the big ones.
But
that one
was so funny.
You see that more in kids movies, which is why I will say again, this is a kids movie with curse words.
Yeah. I don't know who they were playing to with a lot of those bits. With just all the bits kind of conflicted there. But yeah, and it was also like, oh, she was nice when she was like ugly, but then she became pretty, and like the thing the stone took was like her niceness, her kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and suddenly everyone knew her. Remember, that was like one of the big things that no one knew who she was.
Yeah,
even though she'd been working there for like a week.
Also, like,
it was weird.
Yeah, that was super weird when they had like the hiring manager or whatever come up and like, oh, do you know who this person is? And she was like, it's me. And she's like, oh. She was like, yeah, you like hired me, and we had like several meetings and whatever. And it's like, it's a bit forced.
It's a high school rom-com. It's a Disney Channel original movie. Like Get better writers.
Anyway, so if you haven't seen the movie and you're still listening to this or whatever, so let me express to you, her wish was to be powerful and like pretty, basically, and she is. So she's not a cat yet. So you may be wondering,
Yeah.
how does she become a cat?
They gave her
And
subtle hints, though.
yeah,
They gave subtle hints that she was becoming a cat.
well, there was cheetah print like all in the background throughout this entire movie. I like, and I get that's the '80s and like animal print stuff was like big, but like there's literally so much in the background. That's what I noticed like constantly.
One she would wear occasionally, especially.
Yeah.
You're getting to that anyway.
Yeah, they kind of give small hints or whatever, but
Yeah.
like you as a listener who hasn't seen the movie may be wondering, well, how does she become cheetah? And I will tell you,
Because
I
you
don't
definitely
know.
plan on. You definitely don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Like,
Okay. So
like, yeah, like how?
So remember
there
when
a
they were on the
deleted
plane?
scene
No.
that I
So
missed?
remember when they were on the plane?
Yeah,
Like after they escaped the White House,
she said she wanted to become an apex predator.
and he said, "I will make it so." And like I guess he said something like, and I guess the cheetah's the thing she became because she was wearing cheetah
No,
print.
yeah,
It's about the only thing I could infer
but
from.
you have to remember, he didn't turn her into like cheetah there
No,
because he couldn't grant her another wish because she already had her
he
wish.
made the wish.
No.
Did he not?
What he did is like when other people were making their wishes and stuff, like he was taking stuff for him. He's like, oh, you want this in exchange? Give me your health or whatever. Give me your life force or whatever. Well, he's saying that he would also say like, oh, give her your athleticism. Give her whatever. Who did he take the fur from? Who
Joe
did he take
Gardner.
the tail from?
Joe Gardner when he was in the cat. This happened at the same time in that movie.
This is literally the only thing I can think of is there was a soul in a cat who made a wish, and then the dude, not knowing he was a cat, like the rock dude, was like, oh, give me like, or give her your skin or something, and then it was like fur.
I got it.
That's the only thing. Yeah.
I got it. Joe Gardner said, I wish I could have my body back.
Okay.
And he said, done, but I need your current body.
Interesting.
And then he gave it, because remember that cat was orange.
Yes.
Gave
yes.
to, what's her name? Cheetah. And boom.
I literally do not remember her name.
No. Cheetah. I don't remember her actual name. But
yeah.
Kristen Wiig is another person, name you can call her, because that's her actual name.
Yeah, I don't remember her character name, though.
Me neither. The fight scene was weird. Oh, okay. I forgot to mention this earlier. The first, not the first scene, but like the second scene when Wonder Woman was in the mall trying to stop the robbers. It was terrible.
Okay,
not like that scene. It was weird.
I liked three of the robbers there.
Sure.
They gave me like classic, like superhero cheesy live action vibes of like how they're like the villains have these like elaborate plots and they'd be foiled and they'd be like, I'll get you next time or whatever, like those vibes.
Yeah.
And then that like fourth robber dude who like dangled the child off of the ledge, I was like, I don't like him as much.
No.
But yeah, it was a very strange. It was done in like, because it's like I did like the part in there where like Wonder Woman took her little tiara thing off and threw it at the cameras so her face wouldn't be recorded because of the whole thing of like, oh, there were no like pictures or whatever of her, like so she's staying out of the spotlight. And I did like how for a lot of the movie it wasn't Wonder Woman, it was like Diana who's going on all these like adventures or whatever. But like still she was in the spotlight a lot more than any other DCEU movie would have implied she would have been.
All right. So here's my question to you. Was this a superhero movie?
Ooh, that's actually a good question there. Wow.
Like I know it's centered around a superhero.
Yeah,
but she's a superhero for less screen time than she is not one.
Yeah, the answer to that isn't as obvious as a yes as one would think it should be, probably.
Right.
Like, I mean, I would still say yes, but the fact that it's taking me so much time to really kind of like go back and forth on this here is
Right.
it's not a good sign.
I'm having
Unless they
trouble
didn't.
calling it a superhero movie.
Yeah. Like I still liked a lot of the parts of it. I don't necessarily think the movie was like bad. I just think that the story was lacking
Yeah.
in a lot of areas.
If I had seen this before I saw the first Wonder Woman, I don't think it would have been as bad. But
Yeah,
with
it
the
does.
high expectations the first one gave, it
Yeah,
was just not
the
up to
first
par.
one, the first one from what I could remember was on a whole different level
Hmm.
than this movie was here. Um, which is just a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Was there any other parts? I also thought it was a really funny scene where like Diana or like where one of them was like renounce your wish, and then Cheetah was like no, and then one of them was like I guess I'm electrocuting you now, and then like
Yeah, the first time was weird.
I
They fought
am
in the
not
water.
explaining that. I'm not explaining that scene anymore. You just if you haven't watched the movie yet, just go watch the movie so you
If
can
you're this
see.
far in, you kind of know what already happened. Like we
Yeah,
did,
yeah,
we left
yeah.
out a good bit, but not a ton.
Yeah, but watch the scene where Wonder Woman electrocutes Cheetah, which I'm pretty sure is like a war crime or whatever. But I guess it doesn't matter because she's bad.
Yep. I almost feel like they're trying too hard to make this Captain America, but DC. But like the
Yeah,
first one, I think did a
I
decent job at it, but also separated itself enough from Captain America to
yeah
be really good by itself. That's just DC's thing. They're just trying too hard to keep with Marvel, and it's failing epically.
yeah. It's just the fact that made it so big because literally the Wish dude got in contact with every single person on the planet, pretty much.
Yeah, it was weird.
And it's like, how do you
And all they had to
have
do was
something
see
like that
him
happen in the series? Yeah.
through TV, I guess.
And then you had like Wonder Woman's voice going out through like the
Hmm.
entire planet. So like she's not this hidden mysterious figure anymore after that. Like they don't know it's her, but like they know there was something else.
They added a weird subplot about the Rock dude's kid,
Yeah, that
which almost
was
felt unnecessary. It made for a heartwarming ending, I guess,
but
if
like
you want to
also
call it
is it
that. But it was
heartwarming because
weird.
is that dude like not being
Oh, he was,
arrested
yeah,
immediately after
he's
this movie?
terrible, terrible person,
Oh, so it's
terrible
like
father. But
yeah, it's like why do they not
it was weird.
address things in a good way? Why did they do it in the order that they did things? Why is this the question I had after it? I was just like, what's oh, the last big thing that I have to you mention or talk about here, I think there's probably more. Um oh, one thing I'll say before that, just back onto the whole thing of how this isn't Steve, this is Steve's mind in like another dude's body.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of or read the book. Um, every day, there's a book called Every Day. I don't remember the author. I absolutely love the book. It's about this person who's not a person. They're essentially like this soul. It doesn't have a body, and it's like every day, he wakes up in like a different body
Hmm.
and then kind of like lives one day as that person, then he'll go to sleep and he'll wake up the next day as like someone else. And it's like him trying
Interesting.
to navigate his existence as that. And the book starts with him waking up in someone's body and then like falling in love with the girlfriend of that dude. And then he's like, "Uh-oh." Or like, and it's weird. It's because cause I can't say like he falls in love because it's like he's just like they're just a soul. So it's like half the book they're a dude, half the book they're like a girl, but they're like fall in love with this. So then because like the girl's boyfriend whose body they were in is like super like abusive towards her and
Uh
stuff.
huh. Oh
Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So then he's like, I'm a better it's like him trying to navigate. It's like he wants like they want to do what's best for her, but it's like the super whatever thing. But there's a scene where it's like eventually they try to start to like date, and they're like, should we have sex? And they kind of are gonna do it at one point, but then the soul dude's like, I cannot have sex with you in like another person's body because that's like weird or whatever. Anyway,
This
the
is
reason I bring that
definitely
up,
gonna warrant the explicit sticker this time.
yeah,
I put it
yeah,
on there anyway, but
but anyway, the reason I bring all that up is because I'm pretty sure in like one of the scenes of Wonder Woman, it's heavily implied that like Diana and
oh
Steve
yeah,
had like sex
oh yeah,
with another dude's body.
yes.
So like
She gave it no thought. All she
super
saw was
weird.
Chris Pine.
Yeah, I would really love to see the third Wonder Woman installment where like she's pregnant with not Steve's child.
Oh my god, you know how they're gonna write that, right? It's gonna be Steve.
Oh my goodness, no! Please don't give birth to your ex-lover.
You've heard it here. You've heard it here first, folks.
Yep.
Wonder Woman 3. Wonder Woman's gonna have a baby that is Steve.
Yep. And yep, that's.
And then we're gonna have some Sweet Home Alabama going.
Yeah,
Anyway.
even more explicit than Sweet Home Alabama. But yeah, so that was just a super weird thing. It just rubbed me completely like the wrong way. I was like, this is a different person. This is someone whose soul was like yeeted from their body, and
For the
their
pictures, it looked
body
like
is
he had a
inhabited.
girlfriend.
Yeah, he probably did.
No,
and
from
like
the pictures around the apartment, it looked like
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a woman in his life. Yeah.
Yep, and then he probably had plans to meet up with her, and then she's like sitting alone. She's like where is he? He hasn't called. He hasn't responded to any
Right.
like emails I've sent.
That person's entire family was like, "Where the hell is he?" It's
Yeah.
been like a month,
Yeah. So
and then he just appears back out of nowhere in Washington D.C.
Yep.
It's like, how'd you
So
get
anyway,
here?
that was a huge complaint that I had with him. That's like as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like this movie because that's just too big of an unanswered thing here. Anyway,
That happened both. That happened both 2 hours into the movie and 30 seconds into the movie.
Yeah.
It didn't happen twice. It happened once. It just felt like both
man.
2 hours and 30 seconds
Yep.
in the movie.
Um.
Well, your last thing about the movie?
Yeah. Oh, and then I'll also say then when like just one more thing with like all that is like when she decides to like revoke her her wish
Mm-hmm.
and then have Steve die. It's like they have this whole scene where where they like where she's saying goodbye and like they make out and then she like runs back away and she's like, I revoke my wish. So then Steve is like yeeted out and she gets all of her powers back. And it's a really cool visual scene where like all of her wounds like kind of like fade off of her because she's like invincible again or whatever. I was thinking that just that poor dude who remembers falling asleep in his apartment like 2 weeks ago and just wakes up standing like outside. Yeah, probably with like it's like, did I just kiss somebody? Just not knowing what was going on. But anyway, yeah, the last thing that I was going to mention is the credit scene. The scene.
I didn't see it at the end. I didn't want to do. I didn't want to deal with that. I was done with the movie.
There's a super weird scene.
Another one?
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're probably all done with weird, confusing scenes. No. They had one more to go, and it is there's like a crowded area where people are walking. It's like a sidewalk or whatever, and and this pole falls down. It's about to crush this child, but then someone dressed in like this like hooded cloak or whatever like catches it and like pushes it out of the way or whatever, and it's like, oh, is this Wonder Woman? Is this somebody else? Anyway, so this lady goes up to her and she's like, oh, you saved my child. Thank you. Like, what's your name or whatever? And she turns around and she's like, oh, my name is Asteria, I think is what she says. Anyway, it's like the name of a warrior who like stayed behind the Amazons, like the one who's like in like the golden armor and all that, whose armor Wonder Woman wore. He's like, oh, I'm like Asteria, and the woman's like thank you, and then she like walks away. And that was the entire scene.
That's
and
weird.
and like the actress who played Asteria was the actress from the original Wonder Woman TV show. So it was just meant to be like
Oh
a
yeah.
cameo for her. But
Linda Carter.
yeah.
Okay.
But it literally served no other purpose than that. That was it.
Oh,
So
I think I did see that.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if you weren't familiar with the original Wonder Woman series and just the fact that it was that actress, it meant nothing at all. like I watched it and like I didn't know that it was Linda Carter that was the actress who played the original Wonder Woman. So I was just like sitting there, I was like, what is that scene? And then I was like, it has to be a cameo. That's the only explanation. It has to be a cameo. Because otherwise, there's literally no significance and no reason to end the movie with this one scene. But yeah, that was all it was. Is all I was saying, yeah.
My last grievance
Yeah.
is they showed her learning to fly. And then she suddenly had the armor. They explained the armor, at least.
I think she went back to her. I do think there was
Is that
one
where
scene
she was flying to?
Yeah, she went back.
Okay.
She flew back to her apartment. I'm pretty sure, and I think
Her
she
apartment?
went into. Yeah, because the armor was stored at her apartment for some reason.
How did it get to her apartment?
She just had it stored there.
She just has it now.
Yep. She because she found it from somewhere, and like there was like a little bit of expositional dialogue about it. How she was like, "Oh yeah, I found this, and I'm storing it here."
Mm-hmm.
It's never really said why she's storing it there, but she just is.
Well.
But yeah, so she went back to her apartment to get that. Then she flew to chase after this dude.
Well.
Yep. Again, not necessarily a bad movie, just
I didn't like it. It could have been better.
Yeah, I don't have
a lot
anything, better. I wouldn't really consider it a bad movie, but I wouldn't consider it to be a good movie by a long shot. Like, I mean, if it's on, I will watch it. I don't have any problem with watching it. I'll get like back into the story or whatever. But just the story is the weirdest part. Like, It's a cool movie to kind of have on just for like the visuals, except for the cat. I will say is not a great visual. I don't get why after all of the backlash that Cats got, or whatever, why they wanted to do, unless they just wanted it for like the free like marketing thing. Because like when Cats came out, everyone was talking about Cats, not in like a good way, but like they were talking about it. So it was free advertising kind of. So maybe that's why they did it. Maybe that's why they had Cheetah in the advertisement as her a cat, even though she was only a cat for one scene.
Like I said, that movie her character was not fleshed out enough, and they started to, and they just didn't. There's so much more potential with that character, and they just crushed it and made it a side character.
Yep, the story.
She's like one of Wonder Woman's best, or at least most prevalent bad guys in the comics, and they just threw her aside.
Yep,
Marvel's done that a couple times.
Yeah, Marvel's not really great about it either, but like...
Okay, well then here's the question. Is it the worst movie in the DCEU?
No, I would not say it's like the worst.
And is it better than Thor: Dark World? This is how I'm stacking things up, I've only seen Thor: Dark World once, and I was doing something while I was watching it, so I don't remember it.
I've seen it, I think, twice.
I didn't hate it. The parts I did see, I understand why people don't like it.
Yeah,
it's definitely not Thor: Ragnarok.
Yeah, no, they learned from the mistakes that like they made in Thor: The Dark World, and which is one of the reasons why like I don't necessarily I wouldn't rewatch it again, but like I like its place in the MCU because it gets mocked in canon afterwards in Thor Ragnarok, and it had a lot of like essential story elements.
Yeah,
the thing that happened really conflicted other things. Like I don't like the tone. It was a horrible tone. I think it was just so dark the entire way through. There was like no humor in it at all.
When they realized that Liam Hemsworth, is that the one who it is? Yeah. I don't know. It's one of the Hemsworth brothers.
For what?
Thor. Thor.
Oh, it's a Chris.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they realized that he could be funny and he could be good at it, then
Yeah.
his character became better, or at
Oh
least
yeah.
his movies became better.
Yeah. I will not say his character became better because I did not like.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up here. I mean, if
Okay.
Brennan doesn't have any more quick thoughts, we're gonna
Yeah. Let
wrap
me
this
just
up.
finish up what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Before I
Your internet rudely interrupted.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I liked Thor, except for in Endgame, where he just became very I don't want to do anything except for drink beer and be sad.
In this
Which
version of Thor.
yeah. It was just such an interest. Like it was like there were so many references to like the big like Lebowski or whatever, which I haven't seen, but from
Me
what
neither.
I've seen of it, the references to it were a little overdone,
Mm.
and it just didn't feel right with like it wasn't earned, like to get there like they had a whole lot like obviously he fought whatever and he lost and it was like super bad, but like they skipped over so much stuff.
Mm.
It just felt super forced and they kept bringing up jokes about it throughout, like kind of hammering jokes in. But
Interesting.
anyway, for if I would consider Wonder Woman 84 to be worse than Dark World or better than Dark World, that's a really hard comparison, so I'm going to pass.
No, I was just gonna throw that question out there because that's considered, I think, Marvel's worst. That maybe
Yeah,
Iron Man 2.
yeah, and Incredible Hulk is kind of up there too because it was a
Yeah,
good actor, and no
yeah,
one really knows if it's supposed to be included or not now. Like
it is.
canonically,
It
the
is.
like yeah, but it's like they don't really reference any of the events or whatever or anything. So I'm hoping
They
that like
will.
the She-Hulk show will like clarify that some.
Yeah, remember the the Abomination's coming back,
Yeah.
the same one.
Yep.
So
Yep. So
hopefully we'll get
that
some. We,
should
we should get
answer
some.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's one of
So
those things where it's like when they brought Constantine into like the Arrowverse or whatever, the whole thing
oh
was like yeah. Was it's like, oh, is it going to be the character from the original show or is it going to be kind of
yeah,
like a new backstory or whatever? Turned out to be like a completely new backstory. So it is possible they just do this for like Abomination and all that stuff there.
maybe.
We'll just have to see.
When you said
Anyway.
Constantine, I was thinking the one from the Muppets Most Wanted. So there's where my brain's
Yeah.
at.
Well, I mean, both of those characters do have like one thing in common. That's they're both played by Mark Hamill. So, um,
um, so this is our last because this is what 5 straight podcasts
yeah,
or something like that.
5 or 6
Yeah,
in a
something like that.
row, a weekly.
It was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay,
So yeah, 6.
or is oh yeah, I guess yeah. Okay, sweet.
But we're gonna go back to our 2 week schedule
Yep,
probably because
yep, we
next
are.
week there's probably not gonna be much to cover. And sports start next week, or hockey starts next week, so I'm gonna be a little preoccupied.
Ooh, hey,
So
hockey.
so now we're gonna have to work our recording schedule around hockey.
Yeah,
So we'll figure that out. But in 2 weeks we'll have the first WandaVision episode under our belt, so we'll be able to talk about that next
WandaVision
episode.
coming up. Yep,
Yep,
so excited for
next
that.
Friday.
Very excited.
It's coming.
The most recent trailer or teaser that they posted actually for the first time, like I got really excited for WandaVision.
I've been yeah.
It's kind of giving me weird vibes. So it's like I don't know if it's gonna be, I don't know how it's going to work. I've been passively excited for it, but I got like really actively excited for it. The last teaser they put out there. So
it's finally we get some Marvel content after a
yeah,
whole.
for real.
When did Spider-Man even come out? The last one's Far From Home.
It was July of 2019. I'm pretty sure it was July of 2019.
So it's gonna be it's on Hulu. Oh, premium subscription. Yep, July 2nd, 2019. So
Yep.
it has been a very long time since
It's
we've
been
had any
a
Marvel
year
content.
and a half. A year
And
and
even
a half.
longer since we've had non-Sony Marvel content. Because that was Sony.
Yeah.
Also,
technically, although it was still technically
both.
part of the
MCU.
MCU.
Yeah. But damn, it's been too long. So
Mhm.
next episode we'll talk about that. We'll try to get guests on at some point in time. But they said that we're supposed to have 9 episodes of this of WandaVision,
Which should
which
put us in the
hopefully,
March.
yes, which will put us in the March. I believe the second week of March, if I remember correctly. Which hopefully will push us right to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So,
Which
and
will
then,
hopefully push us to Loki.
yeah, and then in there we'll have not WandaVision. We'll have Black Widow
Mm-hmm.
in April. So lots of Marvel content coming. I'm very excited. It's gonna come fast and furious.
Yeah.
So,
Just like Fast and Furious movies, yeah.
Dude, they make a new one every year, or at least a spinoff. So, with that, I think it's a good place to stop. If you like this, please like and subscribe on whatever you're using.
Yeah.
And make sure to go subscribe to Not Brennan.
Yeah, signing off before my internet cuts out again. I'm not Brennan. Subscribe to me and subscribe to Wolfgator Entertainment.
Yep.
On the YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
With maybe a guest or not. So,
Ooh,
peace out.
We could have a guest. Peace.